Alex Minow with KSI Press with Anthony Pettis, who returns to action next Friday in the PFL semifinals. Anthony, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Awesome, awesome. That's awesome to hear. I'm very happy to be talking with you. You're 7 days out. How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. You got 1 week to get the job done. I'll be leaving New York pretty soon. I'm about just wrapping up training camp here in Vegas. It's hot as hell here in Vegas, so pretty easy making weight. And I'm excited to get the job done. Weird position to be in, fighting the same guy I fought 5 weeks ago. But this PFL season format, it makes things a lot different. Last season I wasn't ready for what the season format was like. It takes a tough dude to come through this because I mean you have a lot of time off, but you're fighting back to back to back. So whatever injuries you have in the last fight, you just got to suck it up and make it work in these fights. So yeah, I mean I'm excited about getting my revenge back.
I like how you mentioned last season. I guess what were the emotions like? You had all this hype coming into that season, right? And then you lose both of your fights, and then you have the fans like, "Oh, he's washed. He's not the same guy anymore." Like, what were the emotions like?
I mean the fans are always like that, man. It sucks that MMA is like that. It's like you lose one fight and you're washed and you should retire, or you win two fights and you're the best thing that ever happened. So I mean I'm used to the critics now, and like I don't really let it get to me like I used to let it get to me. When I was coming off that title run, and I lost a couple fights in a row. I was letting the fans get too much into my emotions, and it showed in my fights. And I was like tentative opposed to like going for the kill. And the first PFL season, I was coming off of 2 wins in the UFC, Cowboys, Cerrone, Alex Morano. I go to that PFL season, and like I said, I didn't know what I was signing myself up for. Them fights going back to back. They obviously have some good talent signed up, in their lightweight division. And the first season, I fought Clay Collar and definitely lost that fight. I was like, man, almost had him on a high kick, almost dropped him with a knee. Like it was very close. But when it comes down to the judges' scorecards, he did a better job than I did. Obviously, Haoush fight, I thought I won that fight. That was we can't go back and change judges, scorecards. But big ups to him. He got the $1 million tournament. That's why it's crazy in this season. And then the next season, I knew what I was getting myself. I signed myself up for, and I preloaded my training camp, and I trained from December till I think we fought May. So yeah, I was in camp all the way through, just getting ready for that first fight. Had a great first fight, submission in the first round, and then going to the second fight, it was another position I've never been in, where I had two fights back to back. I knew I was fighting, Ray, and then I knew I already had August 5th booked, so I was already guaranteed a playoff spot. So I tried to play it safe, and it backfired on me. I went out there trying to points farm, and I tried to like really just save my body. If you watch the fight, I was like throwing snap kicks, and I went for a takedown. I usually never go for takedowns, unless I do a double leg or something, and it backfired on me, man. Stevie had something up his sleeve, and he watched my old fights, and he saw my reversal that I usually do from my back, and he had a trap waiting for me, man. I got caught in it. So this sport is just like anything could happen, man. Like it's this game of inches.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But before we get to your fight, you made some headlines about, and everyone ran with it that Khabib isn't the lightweight goat. And I wanted to know, since the goat conversation is such a tough one, right? Like everyone thinks everything. Who is your personal MMA Mount Rushmore? Four of them.
Mount Rushmore. I mean, honestly, I say GSP's on there for sure. Anderson Silva, John Jones, and Jose Aldo. I mean,
Mhm.
Jose been. I've started when Jose Aldo started before I started. He's still doing his thing. So like, you got to give him his respect. And then when I said Khabib wasn't the goat, like I just said, like it's hard to call him the goat. Like if we look at the situation, how he got the belt, who he defended it against. I mean, and he didn't fight everybody in his era. Like John Jones wiped out the division, Anderson Silva wiped out the division. It's like, how do you take away from those guys? When you're talking about goat status, and the question was the goat. They didn't say lightweight goat. I mean, like there's so many good lightweights too right now. I mean, Oliveira, look at his resume. Like look what he's doing right now. It's like how do you like put if you stack them two guys together, even though Oliveira has more losses, and MMA is not like boxing where if you lose once it's over or you're out of this. MMA is a lot different. So like when you look at Oliveira's record or even Tony Ferguson's win streak record, he just missed the title shot. If Tony would have got that title shot in that range, he could have been right in the conversation as well. So yeah, I mean, people ran with it, and they like it made headlines. I think people like they figure out how to make headlines. But I mean, I don't hate. no hate on me for Khabib. I think Khabib's amazing, man. Like what he's done, the dominance he's had in his fights. Like he's for sure the most dominant fighter. But the goat, we're talking about the goat, like the greatest of all time, man. Like you got to do some things that are like Oliveira's doing right now, finishing these guys that are in line. I mean, he beats Islam. Who else is next? Benil Darush versus who's he fighting coming up?
Gamrot.
Gamrot. I mean, Gamrot's kind of brand new into the mix, so like Oliveira will clear out the whole division, and it's hard to say like a guy like that's not the goat either. So yeah, I would say it's still up for arguments.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone sees it different, right? Like, do you see title defenses? Do you see dominance? Do you see names? Do you see how long you have the belt? It's like so many variables.
Yeah, man, for sure. Like dominance wise, for sure, Khabib. I mean, Khabib has, he's the way he did his career smart as hell, man. Like he's retired on top. Made his name really fast, and he looked good doing it. And he's so dominant. Like I don't think anybody won around against him for sure. Dominance Khabib, but like when we're talking go, I mean, there's got to do some special things.
Absolutely, absolutely. You brought up Charles Oliveira. You have a win over him, man. Back when you fought him in 2016, did you know he was like special?
I knew he had a very dangerous game. Like his striking was for sure a lot better than I expected. Like when we got in the exchange, I hit him with a body kick and I hit him with like a right hand, I think, and I saw him get knocked out. And then I started like hitting him on the ground. He woke back up, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's tough. He's here to fight." And we fought at 45, which is crazy. He's actually a 55er, I think. So am I. My bad, my camera just went out. But so yeah, I think I knew he was very talented. It's just MMA is so hard to put it all together, man. There's so many good guys. Everybody's a killer at 155, and it's awesome to see what he's doing right now. And big ups to
Absolutely, absolutely. I did want to ask you, how's your Showtime group going?
Showtime Group's going great, man. My APFC is coming up the Friday after my PFL fight, so I'm going right to Milwaukee. We had a great card, man. Got a lot of killers in Milwaukee that are on my roster, obviously, all showing out. So I'm in a cool spot with giving back to these guys. And actually, one of my guys that fought in my first APFC signed with the PFL, and he just fought on the same card as me. So it was cool to see him like on the same card as me. I'm like, man, it's awesome. And what I set out to do was give these guys a stage and a platform to make it to these big shows and make their names. And it's cool to see it happen.
Yeah, I absolutely love that you're doing that and you're giving back because this game has evolved so much and like these new fighters don't know like what to do. Like they don't know like who's like these management groups robbing them or like not leading them in the right direction. I love that you're giving back because you've had experience with it.
Yeah, it's the wild, wild west when it comes to like MMA management, man. Like anybody can be a manager, anybody can be an agent. Like it literally anybody can do it. So it's like it's cool to see these guys don't trust me with their career and I obviously as I get more experience with it and my show grows. I mean, we'll have more guys on the roster and bigger shows. But we started from the ground up. We started with the guys that are a lot of guys were 0-0 when they signed with my organization. And it's cool to see them starting to grow now and getting these wins and getting these, about to fight on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, man. Awesome. It's kind of crazy. Like, NFL, NBA, MLB agents, like you have to go to school for that shit.
Yeah.
Like that ain't happening in MMA.
I want to be an agent and boom, you're an agent.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You did win the UFC Invitational. Are you going to compete next time?
I had to fight, back to back. So it's really hard. Like in the PFL, it's hard to like commit to anything outside of the PFL. They really keep us busy, and I actually like that part about the PFL. Is like I know I'm fighting a lot. I know I'm going to be having fights, and I'm guaranteed fights. Obviously, it's up to me to win the fights. But yeah, I think if it allows me, if my season allows me to, and it's outside of my my season because this comes first. Yeah, I definitely get in there and compete. I got some great jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that you do. That you do. I was looking back to your record, man, and you've never fought in New York. You were supposed to in UFC 223, but all that shit happened. Are you excited?
Oh, so excited, bro. This is like a bucket list thing. Like New York, I have a lot of fans. There's a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Mexicans out there. So I know, and then MSG is just, iconic, when it comes to fighting sports. So I get to check this off my list. And, there's a lot riding on this one. I got to win this fight. They put us in the main event. I was, the number one seed coming into that. And I get a rematch. So it's kind of, it's weird to be like in that position. Again, a new position I've never been in, fighting a guy back to back, within a couple weeks.
Absolutely. You kind of mentioned your bucket list there. What else is on your bucket list?
I want to fight in Australia. I haven't fought Australia yet. I've been out there. I cornered my cousin in Australia. That's a cool, crowd, crew fan. The UK. I mean, there's a couple other places that I fought in Japan. I got Joe Lozon in Japan. That was one of a bucket list one. Um, yeah, and the states I pretty much fought everywhere in the states, like the big cities. Not Florida yet, actually. I haven't fought in Florida. But yeah, I mean, all that, man. Like I'm 35 years old. I'm here. I've done so much in the sport already, but there's things I still want to accomplish. Like becoming a 3 division world champion. If I pull this PFL season off, I'll be a three organization champion. So that's what I'm shooting for this year.
Awesome, awesome. You are so Stevie Ray. You are 2 for 2 in rematches. You going 3 for 3?
Man, I have to. This one I'm not gonna play it safe. I'm not gonna go out there like the way I did in this last fight. Like I went out there looking for some like jump kicks, and I fought him southpaw, uh, only because that's my karate stance, my taekwondo stance. I knew I could like keep the range with it. This fight I'm gonna go out orthodox, and I'm gonna bite down on my mouthpiece, and I got 15 minutes to get it done to get to that to stamp my ticket to the championship.
What do you think of Stevie Ray as an opponent?
He's good, man. I mean, he's solid on the ground. Like his jujitsu is very, very, very good. He's got a great jujitsu. His striking, like he's a southpaw. He comes forward. He pressured me really hard in that last fight. And I kind of played into it. Like I said, I was southpaw. I was like trying to point spar him a little bit so I can find my range, find my rhythm. Like my mindset going to that last fight was not to get hurt and to win. Just win easily as possible. Because I knew I had the next fight already booked. And I've never been in that position, having like 2 fights back to back. So even with my coaches, we were all like, "Yo, let's play it safe. Let's not get hurt." And it was the wrong game plan, man. Like, I played into his game plan. He was pressuring me, trying to put me in the cage. I reversed him a bunch of times on the cage too. I didn't feel like he was too strong, but he had that submission waiting for me. I think he studied my back defense, and he had something waiting for me.
With that injury that you suffered, it was the second time that's happened. I mean, are you worried that like that might plague you later in your career?
I mean, it already does. That happened in the Dustin Poirier fights when it originated. It's like a cartilage in my rib that just, if I put too much pressure on it, I just can't put myself in that spot. I know better than to try to reverse him with the body triangle on. And I just got caught in the moment. I felt him loosen up just a little bit, and I thought I can clear my hip, and then he tightened up, and he had a nice little body triangle on that I just put all that pressure on that hip, and then he kind of cranked down like on my shoulder and went under my arm, and that's when all the pressure went onto that rib. And I knew I had to fight 5 weeks later. I'm like, yo, I'd rather tap before it actually pops and I'm out of the whole season.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right. So at the end of the day, next week, how do you get your hand raised?
I'm gonna fight a smart fight. I'm not gonna go out there and play it safe. I'm gonna bite down on my mouthpiece. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna make him feel the pressure, opposed to letting him pressure me. And just do what I do best, man. Like I'm not gonna go out there and try to be Showtime. I'm gonna go out there and try to win this fight.
Gotcha. I did want to ask, not looking past Stevie Ray, but who do you want in the finals?
Honestly, both the guys are tough, man. Mercier fought a great fight, his last fight. Very smart. He comes from a good camp. At that gym in Canada, they're very smart, fighters. And Martinez actually trains here in Vegas. I've actually been on the same mat with him. We didn't spar each other, but we were on the same mat, sparring. So I know how good he is too. He's definitely talented. He comes with a taekwondo background like me. His jiu-jitsu and his scramblings, very well. I mean, I didn't see him being Clay Collard, and he pulled that upset off. So it was he's definitely a game opponent. So I don't want to look too much into that. The next fight, I just really want to focus on Stevie Ray. So I just been game planning for Stevie Ray, and it helped that I already had a training camp for him. So I already watched his film. I know what he's good at. His big left hand. He bites down his mouthpiece. Good jiu-jitsu. So I know I have a very good idea of what I'm facing.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. Um, Finally, just what should everyone expect going into this rematch?
I'm getting my hand raised, man. I got 15 minutes to get it done. I'm getting to that championship. My goal this year is to become a 3 organization world champion, and I'm right there, bro. 2 more fights, and I handle this.
Awesome. Anthony, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you might got, you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
Yeah, bro. Thank my coaches, the PFL, obviously for putting me in this position. My social media, Showtime Pettis, all across the board. And everybody tune in to ESPN next Friday.